Officer Training Command Newport, welcome to the graduation ceremony for Officer Candidate School, Class 06, TAC 24. Over the past 13 weeks, the class team has been responsible for developing today's graduates to serve as professional naval officers, worthy of special trust and confidence. The Class 06 TAC 24 class team includes class officers Lieutenant Evans and Lieutenant Condor, Class Recruit Division Commander, Chief Petty Officer Rommel, and Class Drill Instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Martinez Bravo. Guests are encouraged to take photographs from the seating area at any time during the ceremony, except during the playing of the national anthem. The order of events for today's ceremony are as follows. At 10:00, Captain Alcorn, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command Newport, and Vice Admiral Michael Boyle, Commander, U.S. 3rd Fleet, will arrive. The guests and class will rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. The commanding officer and guest of honor will then address the graduating class and administer the oath of office. The graduates will then be recognized through the presentation of their commission by the commanding officer and the guest of honor. The guests will rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal.
Class, attention! Head food!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem and the invocation. Officer Training Command Newport arriving. United States 3rd Fleet arriving. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem. Everett will now offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, strong to save, we give you our thanks for providing the restless waves within each of these newly trained naval officers, so they could stand proud this day for becoming morally, mentally, and physically developed for the service of our fleet. As they prepare for their next evolution in their communities, remind them of what it means to be a leader and to serve with a purpose. Let them embody humility and selflessness. Remind them to value every sailor and civilian they cross paths with each day. Impress upon them the initiative, integrity, accountability, and toughness needed to do the right thing, especially when it's difficult. And embolden them to have ownership of what they are called to do, even when they are called into harm's way. So these officers look to the horizon, prepare them for the challenges that lie ahead, giving them the physical, mental, and spiritual readiness to meet each one with confidence. So as we continue to celebrate this moment, we ask for your Spirit to reside with us and all those who stand to watch this day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Side boys, center, face, forward, march. Right, face.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Class, ready, cease.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Everett Alcorn, Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command Newport.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vice Admiral Boyle, Rear Admiral Andros, Rear Admiral Donovan, Major General Ayers, distinguished guests, veterans, service members, Officer Training Command staff, family members and friends, and most importantly, the soon-to-be commissioned officers of OCS Class 06 TAC 24. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm excited to welcome our 98 newest graduates into one of the most challenging and fulfilling careers, that of a naval officer. To the family and friends joining us, I applaud you for the great work you did preparing these impressive young leaders prior to their arrival here. Your love, support, and encouragement have produced the remarkable individuals seated before us. It has enabled them to make sound choices, and we are grateful to these graduates for their choice to serve. They could not have gotten to this point without the careful guidance and support of family and friends. So on behalf of a grateful nation, please accept my most sincere thank you. To the graduates here today, I am proud of each and every one of you. You all had many other options of volunteering to serve your country, yet you chose this path. I thank you for your patriotism and your willingness to serve. I assure you that a life of service holds many rewards and will bring you great fulfillment. You've completed rigorous military, academic, and physical training. You have overcome obstacles. Nothing was handed to you except opportunity. The opportunity to make something more of yourself, to learn, to grow, and to lead. You seized that opportunity, and today you reap its rewards. I congratulate each and every one of you for this significant and memorable achievement. It is now time to embrace a new opportunity to lead what is truly the Navy's most precious resource, sailors in the fleet. In the years ahead, your knowledge and leadership skills will be tested often. You will be standing watch and working alongside fellow officers and sailors around the world, around the clock. Know that you are going to be doing significant and meaningful work for our country. The mission of the Navy is of tremendous importance to our nation and the world. America is counting on you to deter aggression, defend our national security interests, and preserve our way of life. Work hard. Learn the warfare professional skills of your designator. Strive to be the best and give your best effort. Nothing else will suffice. The nation and the Navy expect the best from you, the highest standards of personal and professional conduct, excellence in leadership, and a strict adherence to the Navy's core values: honor, courage, and commitment. I applaud your accomplishments and perseverance. You're about to embark on a great adventure, one in which I hope you find both professional success and personal fulfillment. It will be unlike any other job you have ever had, and regardless of how long you serve our nation, will most assuredly be a time in your life that you will look back upon with much pride and satisfaction. Congratulations to each of you. I wish you fair winds in following seasons. It's now my privilege this morning to introduce you to our guest of honor, Vice Admiral Michael Boyle, Commander of U.S. 3rd Fleet. Admiral Boyle is a native of McLean, Virginia, the son of a naval aviator. He is a 1987 graduate of Jacksonville University, where he received his commission through the Navy Reserve Officer Training Program. He also holds a master's degree from the Air Command and Staff College. He was designated a naval aviator in January of 1990. Operational tours include Strike Fighter Squadron 137, deployed aboard the USS Forrestal in support of Operation Provide Comfort and Operation Denied Flight in northern Iraq. He was also with VFA 81 deployed on the USS Saratoga in support of Operation Provide Promise and Operation Denied Flight over Bosnia and Herzegovina. He was with VFA 87 on board the USS Theodore Roosevelt in support of Operation Noble Amble, Operation Allied Force over Kosovo, and Operation Southern Watch over southern Iraq. Ashore, he served at VFA 106 as an F-18 instructor pilot, served in Naval Personnel Command as F-18 Junior Officer Assignments Officer, served in the Office of the Secretary of Defense in the Cost Assessment and Program Evaluation as a Navy TAC Area Analyst, and the U.S. Pacific Fleet, where he was the Executive Assistant to the Commander, serving Admiral Harry Harris and Admiral Scott Swift. He served in the Navy International Programs Office as the U.S. Central Command and U.S. Pacific Command Security Cooperation Director, and as Director of International Engagements in the Office of Chief of Naval Personnel. Command assignments include VFA 81 with Carrier Air Wing 17 aboard the USS John F. Kennedy in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and on the USS George Washington for partnership with America's deployment, before being reassigned to Carrier Air Wing 11 aboard the Nimitz. He had command of Carrier Air Wing 5 aboard USS George Washington with multiple Western Pacific patrols. And he served as Commander Navy Region Korea, Commander Naval Component U.S. Forces Korea, and United Nations Command in Korea. Additionally, he served as Commander Carrier Strike Group 12, where he deployed with the USS Abraham Lincoln, and assumed the first operational command of the USS Gerald R. Ford. Vice Admiral Boyle assumed duties as Commander 3rd Fleet in June of 2022. His leadership is essential to providing and employing combat-ready naval forces throughout the Pacific, and to the continued success of the world's greatest Navy. We're privileged to have him here with us today to share his thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest of honor today, Vice Admiral Michael Boyle.
Well, good morning, everybody. You know, I can't tell you how proud and pleased I am to be here. I'm sorry about the bio. You know, the longer you stay in, the longer that bio gets. That's how that happens. Seems like not that long ago that I was sitting right here, and then not long after that, I was on my way out to on Forrestal, which I think about 10 years ago was parked over here being turned into razor blades, but it's been a while. As you might imagine, I speak publicly quite a bit, but you know, today it's a little bit special for me and maybe a little bit of extra pressure. So I thought I'd share with you that, you know, last night when I woke up in the middle of the night asking Tracy, she was actually asking me, do you have all the music set up? And I'm like, the music? She goes, yeah, remember you were going to sing your speech. And I said, what? No, I'm not singing the speech. And then we were going through the phone. I realized I was dreaming or having some sort of nightmare. I don't want to close on kind of nightmares. But I really am pleased to be here. And I hope you get that sense. The challenge I have today is to try to somehow squeeze in my 37 years of experience and share it with these fine young officers in the 5 to 8 minutes that I was allotted. And so I hope you'll forgive me if I sneak a little bit over. Tracy will not forgive me, but hopefully the rest of you might be able to do that. So Captain Alcorn, Chaps Everett, the protocol team led by E.A. Dennis Steiner, the staff, the officer, the class officers, but especially Chief Worker and Gunny Martinez Bravo. You know, Gunny, have you stand behind me there? It gives me a little bit, I'm a little bit afraid. It comes right back. And I didn't go through OCS, I went through ROTC, and an hour and a half of a gunny every Thursday was not probably as challenging as the sand pit was for these folks up front. But it's this weird sensation. I hear gunny ground over my shoulder back there. So I thought what I would do today is first of all, thank all of you for joining the less than 1% of our nation who are or have served in the United States military. It's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a challenge, it's a career. But I thought I would talk to you a little bit about some of my thoughts on leadership, and just kind of a checklist of 5 things to think about as you go forward. So first of all, in my mind, the number 1 priority of a young leader is to know your weapon system. That is the most important thing as you leave this hall and you go out into the fleet. I need you to be the best possible operator of your weapon system that you can possibly be. Whether it's an airplane, an intelligence collection tool, the communication system in my headquarters, it's a ship, a submarine, it's your dive gear, whatever that system is, your job as a leader is to be the absolute best at it. Because with that expertise, it is leadership. And with that expertise comes confidence, comes competence. And that confidence and competence is what your sailors are going to be looking for. It builds the foundation that allows you to be a strong leader. If you don't have that first, the rest of that leadership training and the rest of that leadership experience is going to go to waste. Number 2, you have to listen to your sailors. And that's not, hey, how you doing? It's listen to your sailors and take the time to put yourself in their shoes. Understand what's going on in their lives. Try to understand how they're thinking about things. You're coming at it from a different perspective. You don't have all the same experience. Obviously, some of you out in the audience have a leg up in this regard who've served prior as an enlisted sailor. But you have to try to understand what their challenges are and the barriers that they have to try to solve those problems. You have to really, really listen. And by doing so, you're going to earn their trust. And you can't lead them until they trust you. And that's easier said than done, but it's something that you have to do. You have to be ready to give them the hard truth. You have to be, yes, we have watch. Yes, we're working this weekend. Yes, orders are called orders, not requests, for a reason. And we're in the Navy, we deploy, we go away from home. All of those things are the hard truths. But you have to be ready to help them solve their problems. No Wi-Fi in the barracks is a real problem. And you have to be able to try to figure out how to solve that for them. You have to be able to figure out how to get them paid on time. Of course that must happen automatically, right? No, it doesn't. And so listening to them to understand what those problems are so that you can help solve them is a real thing that leaders have to do. They need a nice, clean place to live and sleep, whether that's aboard the ship or in the barracks. And you're the one that has to make sure that's happening. You have to understand what's stressing them out, what's making them having trouble cope with this lifestyle, and you have to be the one that takes the time to take care of them. Bottom line is you've got to take care of them so that they can take care of you. Number 3 thing, and I talk about this a lot, especially in these days where we have a lot of folks with suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideations and coping problems, is that you have to demand that your junior enlisted sailors lead. The leadership is not left to you, and it's not left to the triad, the CO, the XO, and the CMC. If my rule of thumb is if a sailor has an evaluation, and in that evaluation it says, Petty Officer Smith leads 6 people, well then Petty Officer Smith is a leader. And you, as an officer, need to demand that he's putting in the work to be that leader. He understands who's having a problem with their cigarette. He understands who's the angry drunk. He understands who's racing the motorcycle on I-5 in California. He understands all of those things that are going on in very junior sailors' lives so that we can get ahead of those things. And And that's 24/7, 365 kind of work. That's not 9 to 5 work. That's your job, but it's your job to train the leaders that are coming up behind Gunny here to ensure that we're getting that done. You also have to expect that those junior sailors that are leaders are going to come to you. So back to the trust. They have to trust you. They have to come to you and tell you what's going on. You have to decide, is it something you can solve at your level, or is it something that needs to be risen to the level of the executive officer and the commanding officer and the CMC? That's your work to do, and that's hard work. Don't be afraid to involve your chain of command early. These old folks back here, they've been through every scenario you could ever imagine. The scenarios you did this week, I think I went through every one of them this week. And so they happen a lot. Don't be afraid to include the chain of command. Number 4, this is what I think has got me to where I am, is know what your boss's problems are. If you know what your boss's problems are, then it allows you to focus your energy and work on things that your boss is actually trying to solve, because he's trying to solve his boss's problems. And so do that. My boss, Admiral Michael is the Pacific Fleet Commander, and he works for this very angry Italian called Admiral who is the Indo-Pacific Commander. The Indo-Pacific Commander's problem is to posture forces in the Western Pacific to deter aggression from China, to dominate the PRC outside the First Island chain, to deny their activities inside the First Island chain, and to defend our partners and allies along the First Island chain. That's my boss's problems, so that's what I spend all of my time thinking about. How am I going to solve those problems? The next thing I think I'll tell you is that you have to, and this is the last one for now, you have to explain to your sailors what the mission is. If everyone in the chain of command, and I know you all have learned the chain of command from here up, you're now part of that chain of command, but if everybody in the chain of command doesn't understand the mission, then coming to work becomes problematic. You need to have purpose to come to work. Getting out of bed is a lot easier when you have purpose. So a quick sea story, if you'll indulge me. As the carrier strike group commander on Abraham Lincoln in the North Arabian Sea in 2019, the Iranians had just shot down a MQ-4 drone, and we were deciding as a nation to get out of Syria and Afghanistan. And so we were the only carrier strike group available, and so the decision was made to turn our 7-month deployment into a 10.5-month deployment. That was made 2 weeks at a time. And so as a leader, that was very challenging to describe what the purpose of these endless extensions might be. And so on the ship's 1MC, the intercom system throughout the Abraham Lincoln carrier, I would talk to the crew and I would tell them, hey, this is pretty easy. We're here because there are Marines and soldiers in Syria and Afghanistan that are withdrawing. And when they withdraw, that means they uncover and they move. And when they move, they're vulnerable. And to prevent them from finding harm, we're going to provide air cover for this carrier. That's our mission. It's really simple. But if I can save one Marine by providing air cover, I'll stay out here forever. And so that was my message to the sailors. We figured that there might be activity with Iran, a lot like what's going on with the Houthis right now. And if there was, we thought Iran might retaliate. And so the carrier needed to be present in order to prevent, to deter that escalation. And so my message was, if we're not here, and this escalates into a fight with Iran, your friends from high school, your brothers and sisters are all going to be coming to Iran. And so a lot of Marines and soldiers are going to be on the ground getting hurt because we're not here during that fight. And so those two simple messages can then be translated through the chain of command, whether you're a cook, you're scraping paint, you're running a weapon system, flying an airplane, or whatever it is you're doing to support the mission. And so I would then tell them, you need to take that message and tell it to your families. Because if all you do to your families is complain about the misery of shipboard life, then you're going to get reflected back a lot of misery from your family who feels bad for you and doesn't know how to help you. If you tell your family about the good work that you're doing and the purpose of the work that you're doing, then your family is going to be so proud, and they're going to reflect back energy, and they're going to tell the neighbors, and they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to be all over the place talking about you and all the great work you're doing and how proud they are of you. And it's going to be that little bit of extra energy to get you through one more extension and then one more extension, or whatever the hurdle is that you're trying to get over. So that's I think my last, and that purpose allows you to do something that's bigger than yourself. It allows you to come in every day. It allows you to stay on the watch again. It allows you to go on those deployments. It allows you to be part of the team instead of just having a job. To the significant others that are back there, I'm going to top some folks up front now. There's a saying in the Navy that we recruit the sailor, but we retain the family. And that's pretty basic and pretty easy to understand. But it's one thing to get the member in, but if we can't keep families happy, then we're not going to keep sailors and officers in the Navy. It's not a job. It's a 24/7 vocation, and it requires buy-in from home. So Tracy, raise your hand. In the front row there, she has been my buy-in, my support for 37 years as we navigated this career in the Navy. Sometimes the career move is not the family move. I've been lucky in that I've had a supportive family that has really allowed me to take any job the Navy gave me. I didn't even know there was such a thing as an assignments officer until I became one. I just thought you went where you were told. I didn't know there was a negotiation process that happened there. But Tracy's allowed me to do that. And so working those career options, working those decisions together is really important. It should be non-negotiable. Otherwise, you're not going to last in this business. You know, PCSing, when we moved, permanent change of station, it's pretty easy for the service member. You know, we show up at a new job. We've got a mission. We've got a mission statement. We've got a desk. We've got built-in friends that showed up with us or are already there. So it's relatively easy to go into a new position as a service member. But for the partner, the spouse, the sig other, it's not quite the same. And I always talk about my wife Tracy and thank her, because every time she's done this, the 18 times that we've moved, she's had to reinvent herself. New friends group, new circle, new thing. So when you're going through these career decisions, make sure that you do them together and come to conclusions together. Even if that's which apartment you're going to live in, whether that's Perdido or on the north side, or inside joke perhaps. Take the goods with the bads. You know, it's easy to complain about the turmoil that we have in the service. But remember, this is an adventure. This is an adventure that Tom Cruise made like $1 billion off of. There's people that want to do this for a living. So take the good with the bad. Like I said, we've had 18 moves, and that's just the ones where we actually moved. Sometimes we had to move to another house on the same base, so there's a couple extra. That was hard, but we've got a circle of friends that continues to expand. Friends with the same values, friends with the same sense of purpose, and that you can't replace that. We've seen cultures, sites, experiences, too many to list, but the Great Wall of China as a family, the Gold Coast of Australia, Rhodes, Greece, Venice, Italy. Next week I'm going to New Zealand for a conference. Those opportunities just continue to come throughout my career. That's the good that goes with the bad. You heard in my bio, or probably if anybody was counting, there's a lot of cruises, a lot of deployments in there. 5 long deployments, 6 patrols in Japan, countless other TDY assignments where I was away from home. That's hard. Separation is really hard, but relish the reunion. The saying absence makes the heart grow fonder is really true, and you'll really appreciate each other's company when you're together. Learn how to write letters. I know that some of you had to figure that out during this. Maybe the first time you weren't texting, you're actually writing letters. Learn how to use full sentences and punctuation. You know, LOL, IDK, JK. Rachel's probably laughing at me because there's a whole those are old by now, but learn how to write to each other. You'd be amazed at how much is in there that you don't get across in short conversations. The family and your family and friends, you'll be amazed when you go home for Christmas, when you meet up with friends from college, when you meet up with friends from high school. Everybody in the room is going to look to you and ask you, what are you doing? What's going on? What's it all about? Because you've got this job that is a mission and has a sense of purpose. And it's always amazed me because I just becomes normal to do what we do. And then you go talk to your family and friends, and they are amazed at what you do. So relish that. And to the families, I find myself in your shoes. Being a parent is a lot different than just being me. I think my wife probably understood the anxiety, the unknown, the worry. She's had that at least once before with me, and now we both get to experience together. My dad was a Vietnam vet, flew fighters and off the carriers in Vietnam, and his words to my wife on the eve of Desert Storm back in January of 1990, when we were 91, and I was heading off on Forstall. He told Tracy, "Don't worry, Mike's too good. You don't have to worry about him." So to all of you in the front, know your systems inside and out. Be good at what you do for the sake of your parents and your loved ones, for the sake of their sanity. Because being good at what you do is what's going to keep you and your sailors safe. But ultimately, these folks up front have chosen to answer the call to serve our nation. They have a job to do, and that number one mission is deterrence. It's to deter aggression so that we will never have to fight. To be so capable that no one would ever challenge us. But if that deterrence should fail, we as a Navy must be ready to fight and win. So I'll close with these words from Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "Do something now. If not you, who? If not here, where? And if not now, when?" And so to answer the questions of TR, you have answered the call to serve here and now. Congratulations. I truly look forward to seeing you in the fleet.
The graduating class will now receive the oath of office. Would all military personnel in uniform please come to the position of attention?
Flag! Attention!
Class, raise your right hand. All right. I state your name. Having been appointed an ensign in the United States Navy. Do hereby accept such appointment. And do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully. Discharge the duties. Of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, will now be recognized by the commanding officer and the guest of honor for their achievements while undergoing training here at Officer Training Command Newport. The Commander Jack Levitt Leadership Award is presented to the ensign chosen by the class as the peer who most inspired their class and personifies the highest standards of personal example, sound management practice, and moral responsibility. This award is being presented to Ensign Crane. Ensign Crane has been designated as an explosive ordnance disposal officer and has been assigned to Joint Diving School in Panama City, Florida. The Lieutenant Thomas Edie Honor Award is presented to the ensign who achieved the highest overall average in academics, military training, and physical fitness. The award is being presented to Ensign Warner. He is also being presented with the Rear Admiral Stephen B. Luce Academics Award for achieving the highest academic average. Ensign Warner is an intelligence officer and is assigned to Intelligence Officer Basic Course in Dam Neck, Virginia. Ensign Warner is a distinguished naval graduate. The Chapel Clarity United States Marine Corps Physical Fitness Award is presented to the ensign who achieves the highest overall grade in physical fitness. This award is being presented to Ensign Gagliano. Ensign Gagliano is a supply officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. We will now recognize the remaining graduates.
Ensign Arredondo is a Supply Corps officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Proctor is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Wichita in Mayport, Florida. Ensign Gaines is a Supply Corps officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Goss is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Shield is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Campbell in Yokosuka, Japan. Ensign Gorzinski is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Shawn is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Shiloh in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Ensign Nishimura is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Harper's Ferry in San Diego, California. Ensign Leonard is a Supply Corps officer and is assigned to the Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Damage is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Pincelli is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Angel is a submarine officer and has been assigned to Nuclear Power School in Charleston, South Carolina. Ensign Assad is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Kingsville in San Diego, California. Ensign Bacon is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Battles is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Fort Worth in San Diego, California. Ensign Bell is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Blair is an explosive ordnance disposal officer and is assigned to Joint Diving School in Panama City, Florida. Ensign Booth is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Boyd is a Supply Corps officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Boyer is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Mason in Mayport, Florida. Ensign Boyle is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Burkhart is designated a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Oakland in San Diego, California. Ensign Carter is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Cervantes is a Surface Warfare officer and is assigned to USS Comstock in San Diego, California. Ensign Clute is an Information Professional officer and is assigned to Information Professional Basic Course in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Ensign Cutler is an Information Professional officer and is assigned to Information Professional Basic Course in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Ensign Dawson is an Explosive Ordnance Disposal officer and is assigned to Joint Diving School in Panama City, Florida. Ensign Dawson is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Dorland is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Eccles is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Eckhout is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Edgerton Jr. is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Eddins is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Plato is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Fuller is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign George Ellis is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Heaps is a supply corps officer and is assigned to supply corps school in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Heidlich is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Lassen in Mayport, Florida. Ensign Hires is an intelligence officer and is assigned to Intelligence Officer Basic Course in Dam Neck, Virginia. Ensign Hernandez is a surface warfare officer, nuclear, and is assigned to the USS Mason in Mayport, Florida. Ensign Hess is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Hill is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Howland is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Ireland is a surface warfare officer, nuclear, and is assigned to the USS McCampbell in Yokosuka, Japan. Ensign Irvin is an explosive ordnance disposal officer and is assigned to Joint Diving School in Panama City, Florida. Ensign Irvin is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Ishihara Kuzan is an information professional officer and is assigned to Information Professional Basic Course in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Ensign Jackson Anthony is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Jackson Kalo is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to the USS Marionette in Mayport, Florida. Ensign James is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Jaramillo is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Jones is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Kang is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS McFall in Norfolk, Virginia. Ensign Kirsch is a student naval aviator and is assigned to Naval Flight School in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Lefebvre is an aerospace maintenance duty officer and is assigned to Strike Fighter Squadron 122 in Lemoore, California. Ensign Langford is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Indianapolis in Mayport, Florida. Ensign Lawal is a supply corps officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Lem is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Lem is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Lewis Colton is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Beloit in Mayport, Florida. Ensign Lewis Connor is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Loringer is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Marte is an information professional officer and is assigned to Information Professional Basic Course in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Ensign Mattingly is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Cole in Norfolk, Virginia. Ensign McMillan is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Germantown in San Diego, California. Ensign Meltzer is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Mills is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Canberra in San Diego, California. Ensign Montano Dominguez is a supply corps officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Morris is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to flight school Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Natera is a student naval flight officer and is assigned to Naval Flight School, Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Neal is an explosive ordnance disposal officer and is assigned to Joint Diving School in Panama City, Florida. Ensign Neal is an aerospace maintenance duty officer and is assigned to Strike Fighter Squadron 86 in Lemoore, California. Ensign Oldman is a cryptological warfare officer and is assigned to Cryptological Warfare Officer Basic Course in Corey Station, Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Oriana is a cryptological warfare officer and is assigned to Cryptological Warfare Officer Basic Course in Corey Station, Pensacola. Ensign Ozeze is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Robert Smalls in Yokosuka, Japan. Ensign Planas is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Planas is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Quiros is an information professional officer and is assigned to Information Professional Basic Course in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Ensign Roman is a supply corps officer and is assigned to Supply Corps School in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Roney is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Jackson in San Diego, California. Ensign Sham is an explosive ordnance disposal officer and is assigned to Joint Diving School in Panama City, Florida. Ensign Sham is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Scouten is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Arleigh Burke in Rota, Spain. Ensign Scouten is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Smith, Christopher, is an information professional officer and is assigned to information professional basic course in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Ensign Smith, Jackson, is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school and Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Spangler is a supply corps officer and is assigned to supply corps school in Newport, Rhode Island. Ensign Stoddard is an intelligence officer and is assigned to intelligence officer basic course in Dam Neck, Virginia. Ensign Sundquist is a student naval aviator and is assigned to flight school Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Trotta is a student naval aviator and is assigned to Naval Flight School Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Van Housen is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Canberra in San Diego, California. Ensign Bierman is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Bulkley in Rota, Spain. Ensign Bowman is a student naval aviator and is assigned to Naval Flight School Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Watson is an intelligence officer and is assigned to intelligence officer basic course in Dam Neck, Virginia. Ensign Wilson is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS McCampbell in Yokosuka, Japan. Ensign Morrill is a submarine officer and is assigned to Nuclear Power School in Charleston, South Carolina. Ensign Yee is a cryptological warfare officer and is assigned to cryptological warfare officer basic course in Quarry Station, Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Young is a student naval aviator and is assigned to Naval Flight School Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Zhang is a surface warfare officer and is assigned to USS Normandy in Norfolk, Virginia. Ensign Zarowski is a student naval aviator and is assigned to Naval Flight School Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Zhang is a student naval aviator and is assigned to Flight School Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the United States Navy's newest ensigns. Please rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal.
Class, attention!
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now conclude the ceremony. Please remain in your places until after the graduating class has taken their class photo, and remember the only authorized visitor locations are K Hall and MSBT. On behalf of the commanding officer, thank you for attending today's ceremony.
Class, 06-24, dismiss!